Hi, I'm Matt, and this is Matt Reflects. I'm going to do another one of my Magic the Gathering videos. Got a little stack of cards. This is one of those rare card bundles that I always get, and I've got a bunch of these to go through because I've purchased a lot of these. So I'm going to do one today and get some pictures and try and get a few videos up today. So we're going to start with Alania Divergent Storm. Here's the card. It is a legendary creature for 5 mana, 3 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red. It is a box topper one because it's got the little Magic Gathering symbol on it. And it's a 3/5 legendary otter wizard. It says, whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, or the first otter spell other than Alania you've cast this turn, you may have the target opponent draw a card. If you do copy that spell, you may choose a new targets for the copy. Gotta tell you, I love that idea. Just let them have the card, and especially if you've got something that hits hard, or you've already got something that's storm out. Let's get those copies. Let's get the storm. Yeah, that's a great card. Next one is going to be Mosswood Dread Knight. This is it's going to be an adventure card. So we'll start off with talking about the adventure side. So the adventure side is Dread Whispers, 1 black, 1 colorless. It's a sorcery adventure that says you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Then exile this card. You may cast the creature later from exile. The creature side, which is the Mosswood Dread Knight, is 1 green, 1 colorless. It's a 3/2 creature that says, trample. When Mosswood Dread Knight dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. I do love the adventure cards. This one is a very good card. Can be easily used for that. I mean, it's great for black for a card draw. Yeah, you lose a life, but whatever. Then you're able to cast that. You can then cast the adventure side from the graveyard when it dies. And of course, the minute it does that, it goes into exile, and it basically allows you to keep recycling it. It's a really cool card. Another one. This one's another one with the little Magic the Gathering symbol, so it's one of the specialty like box topper types. This is Hallowmurk Siege, and it is 1 black, 1 green. It's an enchantment from the newer Tarkir set. It says this enchantment enters, choose Sultai or Asban. Sultai, whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Great easy card draw for ones that have counters. The Asban part says whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature, and it gains menace until end of turn. I tend to use that side more often when I play that card on Arena, but both sides of it is awesome, and if you have more than one in there, you can definitely use both sides and just have for both pieces. All right, next one is Entropic Battle Cruiser. It's an artifact spacecraft. And so what we have here is it has 2 of the stationing abilities. So if you know how station works, it's you tap creatures to station, and their power stations it, and it stays stationed. So as the power goes up, or as it stationing counters, I guess they go up, it gets new abilities. This one's 4 mana to cast. It's 3 colorless, 1 black. Station +1 station. It says whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 3 life. So that's not too bad. When you get it to 8+ stationed, the extra ability of flying death touch. Whenever this spacecraft attacks, each opponent discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life, and it is a 3/10 creature at that, or 3/10 spacecraft at that point. So it's a pretty cool card. I really love the spacecrafts, and I think we're going to start seeing a little more sci-fi since the functionality of that set. This one is Possibility Technician. It is 3 total mana, 2 colorless, 1 red. It is another box top style one with the special symbol. It's a creature, a Kevu officer that's 3/3. It says whenever this creature, another Kevu you control, enters, exile the top card of your library. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it as if you control a Kevu. Warp, warp 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 red. And the warp ability, which is really a neat ability, you pay the lower amount at the end of turn, it goes into exile and you cast it again. You can cast it again. Sometimes these warp abilities, they'll have like an exiting ability as well, so it's kind of neat to put together. Okay, here we go. This one's Synth Eradicator. It is 3 mana, 2 red, 1 red, 2 colorless. It is an artifact creature, Synth Soldier. It's a 3/3, and on it says haste. Whenever haste, and then whenever Synth Eradicator attacks, exile the top card of your library. You may get 2 energy counters. If you don't, you may play that card this turn. Tap and pay 3 energy. Synth Eradicator deals 3 damage to a target. So there's kind of getting the energy counters and using your deck if you don't need it, and say it's a land card and you don't really need anymore. Those are great exiles to start building up and be able to do those 3 damage. So that's a really cool card that way. Next, it's land. It's Exotic Orchard. It's a land card, and this one states tap, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Okay, that works well especially if you're playing similar colors or the same colors. But honestly, it could be a great one for if you have cards to steal cards from your opponent, and maybe you can steal a creature that has activation ability. This is a way to use the activation ability if you don't have that color. Glacial Forest. This is another land. It says Glacial Fortress can enter the battlefield tapped unless you control a plains or an island, and it's add 1 white or blue. So just a basic dual land from the modern style dual lands. This next one is Prairie Stream. It is a land, islands, plains, and it says Prairie Stream enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands, and you can tap it to add 1 white or 1 blue. It's another great one to have, very functional in a deck. This little bad boy right here, it's Vault 112 Sadistic Simulation. It is an enchantment saga, and it is 4 mana, 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 blue. And for the number 1 part of the saga, says tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. You get 2 energy. The number 2 is exactly the same. Then the number 3 states, pay any amount of energy, and if you paid more than 1 or more energy, this way shuffle your library and exile that many cards from the top. You may play one of these cards without paying its mana cost. So that's pretty awesome, actually. So, all right, next, boom. It's another land card. This one is Temple of Triumph. This is Temple of Triumph enters the battlefield tapped. When Temple of Triumph enters the battlefield, scry 1, and it adds 1 red or white mana. So again, good dual land, great scry ability. I do like the scry abilities, or which I use a lot. I use those lands a lot in Arena. Next one is Fiery Confluence. It is a sorcery. It's 2 colorless, 2 red. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Fiery Confluence deals 1 damage to each creature. Fiery Confluence deals 2 damage to each creature or destroy a target artifact. And remember, you can choose 3 and choose 2 of the same. So that can be really, really powerful. Excellent card to use. Especially, you almost can create a creature wipe with it. Anyway. Wayward Swordtooth. It is 3 mana, 1 green, 2 colorless. It is a creature dinosaur, 5/5. It has Ascend, and Ascend reads, if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Wayward Swordtooth can't attack or block unless you have City's Blessing. But getting the additional land each turn has a major function. In green, being able to add lands is just a green thing, and so it's a great card to use. This one is Kinjali's Sunwing. This one is 3 mana, 1 white, 2 colorless, and it states that it is a creature dinosaur. It's a 2/3, it has flying, and creatures that your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Love that. Anytime that something forces your creatures or your opponents to come in tapped, it's just automatically a good play for getting any single turn things out of the way. Plus, kills red's haste pretty badly. Let's see, this is Deathgorge Scavenger. It is a dinosaur. It's 3/2. Whenever Deathgorge Scavenger enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile target card from a graveyard. If this creature card is exiled this way, you gain 2 life. If a non-creature card is exiled this way, Deathgorge Scavenger gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Love that. It's another way to just go ahead and wipe out your opponent's graveyard. I like manipulating the graveyard, so oftentimes I have things to, bring things back from the graveyard or manipulate the graveyard. So if I can wipe out somebody else's ability to do that, I tend to want to do that. This one is Ripjaw Raptor. It is a 4/5 dinosaur. It had 4 mana total, 2 green, 2 colorless. And it says Enrage. Whenever Ripjaw Raptor is dealt damage, draw a card. The Enrage is really neat with that. And there's some combos that you can use to double some of that type of stuff. So that can be really great for card draw. Getting your stuff in your hands, your cards in your hands, and be able to get them out to wipe out your opponent as fast as possible. So this one is Shifting Ceratops. It is a dinosaur, 5/4, 4 mana, 2 colorless, 2 green. This spell can't be countered. Protection from blue. Shifting Ceratops gains your choice of Reach, Trample, or Haste until end of turn for 1 mana. It's a good card. They're expensive to get out, but if you're at that point where you have the 4 mana, that power and toughness will make it worth going on, especially if you can just tap another mana and have haste. Excuse me. This one is Akroma's Will. This is a cost 4 mana, 1 white, 3 colorless. It's an instant, and it states choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. It states creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until end of turn, and the other one, creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors until end of turn. And obviously, the commander, you get both. That's a good deal for if you have a bunch of creatures out and you can attack, you're going to gain life and make it very hard for your enemy to do anything against your creatures, and that's especially if you're playing in Commander. This one is Kessig Wolfrun. It's a land. It is add 1 colorless mana, and if you tap it and tap X mana, 1 red, 1 green, tap the land itself, target creature gets +X/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. That can be quite damaging. And adding that trample and getting those large numbers really can wipe out your opponent's creatures, especially since a lot of creatures tend to be a little bit smaller. That gets some hits through too. Alright, this one is Rampaging Brontodon. This is a staple card. It's been around for a long time. It is a 7/7 for 7 mana, 2 green, 5 colorless, and the card reads, trample whenever Rampaging Brontodon attacks, gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each land you control. That thing has been around forever, and it is definitely a standard haul in a green deck with powerful creatures. And with green's ability to get out lands, it's definitely a good, worthwhile card to have in your green decks. This one's going to be Apex Altasaur. It is a 10/10, so another massive green for 9 mana, 2 green, 7 colorless, and it reads, when Apex Altasaur enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. It does have it Enrage. Whenever Apex Altasaur is dealt damage, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. That is phenomenal with some of the, if you're doing a green-red deck and you have some of those instants and sorceries that hit every creature, because you hit one, and if you can really wipe out your opponents. If they have a lot of creatures, you can wipe them out very rapidly. You may lose your Altasaur at the same time, but if you got anything that'll create storm, you hit that one of those that hits one, and then it gets doubled, and it hits, the spell gets doubled, you hit it again. That thing could easily take out 2 separate creatures, and if you brought it, and on the turn you brought it out, if you were able to do something that was lower cost, and you were able to get that out, and it attacks 1, and you could be potentially up to 3, that could really wipe out some of the creatures on the board, plus everybody getting the damage, the 2 damage, or 3, or however many it ends up being. This next one is Temple Altasaur. It is 5 mana, 1 white, 4 colorless. It is a 3/4 dinosaur, and it says if a source would deal damage to another dinosaur you control, prevent all but 1 of that damage. And not a bad card. Obviously very specific to the dinosaur game, but dinosaur decks are pretty powerful decks. Let's see, next one. Fortified Village. Fortified Village is a land. It says, as Fortified Village enters the battlefield, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, Fortified Village enters the battlefield tapped. Add 1 green or white. Those are just the good dual lands. You always have the one effect negative, at least one effect negative or positive. Oftentimes 2 effects. Normally 1 negative is coming into play tapped, but this one gives you an option to get out of the tapped. Sorry, I just got a lot of yawning today. All right, this one I'm going to attempt to say it. It is Asmore and no Marduk Distan Koldakar. See if I can get it to where you can see the name. It didn't come in, but I'll put it up on there. This is a legendary creature, human wizard. It is 3/3. As long as you've discarded a card this turn, you may pay either 1 black or 1 red to cast this spell. when this creature, because I'm not going to try and say the name again, enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a card named the Underworld Cookbook, reveal it, and put it in your hand and shuffle. Sacrifice 2 foods. Target creature deals 6 damage to itself. Now, this was in the Modern Horizons 2 release, so it's a reissue from Modern Horizons 2. It's an excellent card. It doesn't have a casting cost because the way to do it is the way you cast it is by discarding a card, and then you have to pay the 1 mana to cast it. So anyway, that is the group of these cards. I had right there. They were all in I think that was 25 or so, but it was in a small group of cards that I had purchased, and I do a bunch like this, and I have a bunch to go through still, so I'm going to try and maybe do another one today at the same time, and this week try and post a ton of videos. Anyway, I'm Matt. This is Matt Reflects. Like, subscribe, share, check out the politics videos, check out the Magic the Gathering videos, and eventually check out the reviews. And anyway, let's keep the conversations going.